this, I believe, was one of my great-grandfather's favorite toy trains. And, well, this is what's left of it. Somebody dropped it a couple years ago. It's broken beyond repair. And so I spent a while searching for it back a couple years ago, trying to find, a replacement parts or something to fix it. And I never quite succeeded. Until recently, I was donated an exact match of that train. Now, this train here hasn't run in a while, and I'm not going to swap parts between the two, really. I mean, I might use a few. I mean, there's a little cosmetic detail that's missing right here I might borrow from this train to fix, but I now can finally experience what it was like to run this engine here, which I've been keeping on my shelf as a display for years now. Now, I wasn't entirely sure if that was enough content for this video, cleaning up this train and stuff. So I have two other promising engines that could be fixed that I received in the same donation. And I'll be right, and this is a New York, so I'm not sure what this New York Central one is, but I really like it, so I need to look into it. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge on these trains, and specifically, it's been a while since I've actually messed around with them, but I'm going to put them on the train table, oil them up, and clean them up, and see if I can get them running. And over here, we also have this British locomotive. I really don't know what it is, but I'll do some research and I'll tell you guys what they are right in just a second. So the thing with these old engines, these are the old style that have no computers in them. And when they haven't run in a while, it's best just to take them apart and check out what's going on under the cover and just figure out, if this needs oil and stuff. And I'm going to have to take this thing entirely apart because I know that there are two gearboxes. There's one inside here, internal to this, and one in here, based on my knowledge of working on this train. So I'm going to start by taking off this cover and this set of wheels here. I'm going to try to see what I can do about that little spring there. And then I'll get right back to you and let you know what I find out. So as you can see, this spring here is pretty messed up. However, the spring on the other train, my grandfather's original one, is perfectly fine. So, since this is the exact same thing, we're just going to use this part here and put that back on to save time and effort of trying to bend that spring back. And now, let's see. Let's get a good look at the gear here. Okay, the gear looks pretty good, except it's got some really gunked up oil on it. So we're going to need some paper towels and run the engine a little bit through its course. I think I'm going to have to take it apart a little bit further to get this gear turning and stuff properly, but I like that feeling. That's good. That's a good sign. I can feel the teeth grabbing just fine, so that's good. So last thing we need to do is remove this little screw, and if I remember correctly, this whole bottom chassis should just pop right off. So we'll be right back after I do that. Okay, so off camera, I rotated the wheels just fine using this little piece here. Now they all kind of fell out of place because they're not the screwed in plate. The plate that holds them together, this thing is not in place right now. So don't worry, it's just fine. But as you can see, the gears here are good. No stripped teeth or anything. So all we need to do is just clean them up and then re-oil it. And we'll be right back after we do that. Okay, everything's back together here, and we got all the gears and all bearings re-oiled, re-greased. So now we're ready to put this cover back on, and then move on to the rest of the engine, to the second gearbox. And then we have to check the, what are they called? No, they're not, I'm trying to remember. They're the little things in the motor called, these little things, the brushes is on the tip of my tongue. We gotta check these little brushes here, clean those up, and we should be set to go. So I'm gonna screw this back on, and then we'll start taking this engine apart. Okay, that's now back together as much as it can be for me to easily reattach it. Now we just gotta get into taking this apart and see what's in here. Alright, we got this apart. And this spins pretty well. Now this piece here was the reason why the ever locomotive was impossible to repair, because somebody had dropped it. And I can show you here. It actually broke in half. And there is a broken tooth here. So that's why this was impossible to fix. But this one, thankfully, is in great shape. And you can probably hear the rain. But yeah, so we just need to get this apart now and re-oil this, and then everything can start going back together. Okay, as you can see, the inside of this gearbox was pretty gunky. I'm still wiping it out, but we've discovered something interesting. So these are little weights here that fold up like this at the factory, and they were all taped together with what I presume is masking tape at the factory, and laid in the top of the locomotive here, along with this weight. Now, I never knew these actually existed as part of the engine, because by the time I got my hands on my grandfather's locomotives, these were long gone. But as you can see, these were literally bent in half at the factory and then just taped together, which is an interesting way to construct them. I thought I just might mention that. And as you can see, this tape is not aged too well, so I'm going to be replacing that. Alright, this gearbox is now fully cleaned out. I went through quite a few rags, but now that it's fully cleaned out, we can start actually putting this engine back together once I apply a bit of new oil. Okay, now that we got the gearbox back in and we got some smooth action, we just need to pop these brushes out and clean them off. So when I took one of these brushes out to clean it, it snapped. Thankfully, I had a replacement from the old engine, but still, it's a good thing I had the replacement. So I don't know, maybe that's one of the reasons it wasn't run. I don't even know if this engine was taken apart before, because it seems like the guy, whoever owned it, just added a bunch of oil to it. Like, it didn't look like, it was really gunky in this gearbox especially, so we'll see how well it runs pretty soon. Train table's a bit of a mess right now because I got a bunch of Ever trains waiting to be repaired, and I don't have a whole lot of space. But I'm about to turn the knob and find out if this thing will actually power up. So here we go. I heard something. It's trying. Let's get more power here.
Oh.
Alright, I think this thing just needs to run a little bit, so let's see. We might have a continuity error. We'll be right back. Alright, after a little bit of cleaning up the tracks and giving it a lot of power, we've got it up to this point. Oop.
Came off the rails.
Yeah, it came off the rails. There we go. Hold on a second. Reroute that. Oh, I see. We flipped the side. Right.
Oh boy.
This is embarrassing, but here we go. There we go. There she goes. I'm at about 70% power to get it running like this. It started off a lot slower and it's getting faster now. But pretty soon, depending on what these old locomotives, you just let them run, they'll get faster eventually and they'll get back to normal. So I just gotta give it a minute to kind of re-get all the oil back in the gears, get all the electricity flowing the way it should. Let's get faster. I'll turn down the power just a little bit. But it's working. It's working now. On to the next locomotive after this one finishes getting its little tune-up. We can stop now. Last thing I'm gonna say about this engine is that it's extremely well balanced. I mean, I can run this thing at 100% power and it will not tip over at all. Maybe that's because it's just a little bit slower, but I think it's partially because of the weights, because it's just cruising and it does not have any problems at all at 100% of power. But that's all I'm gonna say before moving on to the next one. Alright, I've done some research now, and I found out that this is a New York Central Hudson locomotive that has been streamlined. Now, the Hudson locomotives, I think about a little bit over 200 of these were built, and some of them were streamlined for passenger trains. Unfortunately, there are no survivors left today. Now, there is one surviving tender, but, yeah, there's no locomotives left, so maybe we'll have a replica built one day like they're doing with the T1 right now, but for now, these models are what we have left. So, now, I've actually worked on a model train that has a very similar setup just like this one. I think it was manufactured by the same company, because, let's see, it's, let's see, where does it say? Made in Italy. Yep, yep, it's that company. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but it's definitely, I've definitely worked on one with the exact same drive shaft before. I don't think that was the exact same motor, but it's very similar. So I should be able to get this one up and running pretty easily, because it looks like they've used the same frame, and if I recall correctly, it's only got, like, it's not as complicated as the one before. So we're going to start taking it apart and hopefully get it running soon. Alright, first things first. We need to get the bottom cover off for the wheels. We need to take these off and these off here so we can get inside this engine. Now, so I'll be right back after I remove these front wheels and back wheels that are just held in place by these two screws. And I think this bottom piece is going to pop right off. So we'll see. So I'll be right back after that. Well, those came off pretty easily. Now, as you can see, this is not, this engine's going to run a little bit faster than the other one because from the looks of it, it might only have one worm gear. But as you can see, TIFO look pretty good. It's just little gears right. And it's just spur gears, I think. I think those are the correct terms. Chew me out in the comments if I'm wrong. But this engine, it comes apart particularly easily. Now, what's interesting about how this one conducts power, you see these are little spring-loaded devices here right next to the wheels, and they're just touching the rims. So that's and in case you didn't know, this side will pick up one power from one rail, and then you have your tender here, which will pick up power from the other side. Now, as you can see, you have these little metal plates here that conduct power to the rod, which is picked up by these little tabs here. On the other side, it's just a plastic rim. Oh, I have spotted a problem. That should not be on that side, so we're going to have to flip that around, because that's just going to cause a short circuit. Okay then, so we're going to be working on the tender too. Alright. Okay, now, so, turns out this wheel and this one were swapped somehow. Now, these engines were pretty well lubricated. I'm still going to have to clean out that oil because it's old, and old oil gets gunky over time. But I think what happened is somebody's little kid was messing with these wheels, and one of them popped out. Or they popped out two of them, and they put one in the wrong place. Now, it's only supposed to collect power from one side of the track on the tender, and the engine's supposed to collect power from the other side, because you have, so for simplicity, to get power to the motor. So it was actually impossible for this engine to run until I put these wheels back just a minute ago. But I don't think it was the owner's fault. I'm pretty sure it was just some little kid messing around, popped the wheels out of the tender, put them back in the wrong place or something. But now that's fixed. That would have definitely been a problem, because it would have just been a big short circuit and nothing would have started at all, and I would have been pretty confused. I'm glad that I noticed that. Anyway, next thing is to just try to pull these, is to clean this off the best that I can, and then undo these screws to hopefully get deeper into near the gearbox. So I'll be right back after that. So somebody had the bright idea to bend these little ends here to make them difficult to pull out at the bottom, because they stick in right these little holes right here. Those little wires go back there. Now, I have never actually seen that before on one of these locomotives, so I think that wasn't from factory. I think that was from the previous owner trying to get them to stay together or something. I don't know, but either this locomotive has never been taken apart before completely, or who knows. Anyway, it's a bit of a mess right now, but I know what I'm doing. I'll get it all back together. It's just, I gotta get into the gearbox and make sure nothing's crazy in there, and since oil hasn't been running here a long time, well, I gotta take it all apart. Gotta check the brushes and everything. So I'm gonna take this gearbox apart, clean that, and then I'm gonna pull out these motor brushes, and then we'll see what's next. Some of this oil is so old that it is actually solidified. It's a good thing it's a good thing I'm working on it. But this engine has not run in a very long time if it's been solidified like this. Like, it's probably been at least a decade. So, but knowing these motors and stuff, these engines, they just come right back to life if you give them the right treatment. Hopefully, I can do that. Okay, all the gears are clean now. Well, mostly, they're acceptable. I mean, this one's very clean and all. They're not spotless, but they're good enough. And I also cleaned out the motor brushes. So now, it's finally time to start putting this locomotive back together. And then, we'll see if it'll just start up. Hopefully it will. Top of the engine's back together. Now I just got to get the bottom cover. Also got all the gears re-oiled. An interesting fact about this engine is that its design allows you to just add oil here, and it'll work and the rest of it will just work its way in up to that worm gear. The problem is, though, the reason I had to take it all the way apart instead of just re-oiling it there is because you saw earlier that the gunked up oil, it's just going to get in the way, and it's not going to be very consistent. So I have to take it all apart. Plus, I also wanted to check out the motor and stuff because I don't know this engine, so I need to know about it. You know, like I need to see if there's a problem up here too. But I just got to reattach this piece, and hopefully everything will come right back together and just start up. I've said that like 5 times, haven't I? Well, I better stop recording before I say it again. Okay. Top came on pretty nicely. Now just for the last couple parts. And then we're ready to go. Okay, here we go. Let's see if this thing wants to fight us or run. Heard something there. There we go. You just gotta give it a minute. Just need a little push. I think that sound is coming from the motor. I'm not sure what that little clackety sound is. I'll have to look into it. I know it's not coming from the gears, but I'm not sure what that sound is. I'll have to look into that, but it's running, so I think we're good. I'll just have to figure out what's making that weird noise, but other than that, we're running. We're up and running. So I guess we'll move on to the next locomotive now. The more I thought about that sound, the more I couldn't get it out of my head, so I decided to just add a little bit more oil and see if that fixed the problem. And it sounds a lot more consistent to me, sounds smoother, so I think we're good. I think I fixed it. I think I just didn't put enough oil in there when I re-oiled it, so... Well, it's quieter now. It's a lot quieter. I like that. I like its consistency, so I think we're all good. So now I can rest in peace and move on to the next locomotive. Alright, for this last locomotive, I have a Great Western British locomotive. It is a 6000 King class. Now, I couldn't find a lot of information on this particular engine. Of course, I didn't spend a whole lot of time researching it, but I know that it's a British locomotive and that it was built in England, I think in the 30s is when these locomotives were built. I'm not 100% sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. And what's interesting about this model here, only thing I can really find wrong with it physically is this little bent thing here, which was causing some stuff to get stuck. So I have to just bend this back with some pliers. Another thing that, but the most interesting part of this locomotive, it's not powered in the front. There's no motor in here. This just rolls. The real action actually just happens back here. So I'm gonna have to get this thing apart and check it before I oil it up and see if it'll start, but I mean, and bend this back obviously, but I mean, really this thing's looks in pretty decent shape. I don't see any screws here, so I'm pretty sure this is just one of those examples where this thing just, just kind of clips together, so I'll be right back after I take this thing apart. Okay, I was correct. This thing just snaps in place, and that's all there is to it now. Not much to say about this motor here. How do I say it? It's mounted parallel with the wheels, which is pretty unusual. You don't see a lot of these engines. Well, I do have one engine, a GG1, that has a parallel mounted motor like this. Might actually be the same type of electric motor here, but the only thing I can really do with this is just oil it up and see what it does. I mean, I could try taking the motor brushes out, but I don't want to dig in that deep. Plus, the motor looks fine. I don't see anything really wrong with it here. So, I'm just going to apply some oil and then just put this cap back on. Okay, after applying some oil and manually spinning the gears around a few times to work the oil in the grooves, I think this thing is ready to go. Now, all I have to do now is just take some pliers and very carefully bend this back into shape. And then we should be completely ready to see if this engine starts. So I'll be right back after I do that. Well, this engine definitely wants to be fixed because it did not fight me at all. It was really easy to bend that right back in shape. So I am just going to put on the rails and we'll see if it'll start. Alright, I'm ready to throw some electricity at this engine and see what will happen. So here we go. We're getting something there. Alright, hang on a second. Alright, it wants to run, it's just getting stuck here. That's a pretty unusual sound. Alright, go through the tunnel. There you go. Oh, it stopped. Alright, looks like I got a little troubleshooting to do. I'll be right back after I get it running completely. Unfortunately, I've concluded I can't really run this engine on this track because it does not like that there. For some reason, this is like too tight or something on it. I don't know, too narrow. It just doesn't like it, the wheel length or something. So it wants to kind of jump track because of this thing here. So I'm really been thinking about taking these things off because they don't benefit me that much. But I also need to do a lot of other work on this train table. Because I only got one rail working right now, but... And as you can see, it jumped track there, so... Siding problems. Also, the engine just doesn't seem to like these rails. So yeah, that's an issue though for a later time. But we did get all three locomotives running, so I think that's a good conclusion to this video. And until next time, God bless.